We are just a few sleeps away from Aaron Rodgers' home debut as a Pittsburgh Steeler, as Pittsburgh hosts the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday afternoon. Welcome into the Arthur Moats Experience. My name is Mark Bergin, and in this game, we get to see DK Metcalf go against his former team. DK spent 6 seasons in Seattle, and a matchup I'm looking at, Devin Witherspoon against DK Metcalf. Yet another good one. We saw Sauce Gardner go up against DK in week 1. Devin Witherspoon, it appears we're not sure if he's going to play, though. Perhaps Seattle's best player, a cornerback out of Illinois, Witherspoon, didn't practice on Wednesday. I am recording this on Thursday, so keep an eye on Witherspoon's injury designation status. If he is unable to go, that is a huge benefit to Pittsburgh. Steelers open this game as about a 3-point favorite, depending on your book. But the Steelers look to keep it rolling in week 2 after knocking off the Jets in week 1. Seattle is coming off a loss in week 1 to the 49ers. So I want to bring up the point of how desperate the Seahawks will play in this game, because NFL teams that start out 0-2, it is pretty much the kiss of death if you want to make the playoffs. I'm not saying it's impossible, but from a statistical standpoint, you really dig yourself a deep grave to try to climb yourself back out of if you start out 0-2. So I expect to see a very desperate Seattle Seahawks team. Sam Darnold, coming over from Minnesota too, had only 150 passing yards in his Seahawks debut. But let's keep with the Steelers. I'll bring it back to Seattle before I wrap up here. But one thing I need to see the Steelers do in this game is establish the line of scrimmage, because when you talk about 53 yards of rushing and a little bit more than 25 minutes time of possession in the opener against the Jets, that is not going to cut it. Now, to do that, I know that Kenneth Gainwell had more snaps than Jaylen Warren. Gainwell had 29 of the offensive snaps. Jaylen Warren had 25. Caleb Johnson only had 2. I would like to see Jaylen Warren take on more of the onus, considering the Steelers have more of a financial commitment to Jaylen Warren. But what I know is, as a collective, 53 yards rushing isn't going to cut it for Pittsburgh. And yes, I like to see Aaron Rodgers sling it all over the yard. We loved seeing that in the opener in the Jets, a game that had 7 lead changes. I don't think that's a recipe for success long term. And part of establishing the line of scrimmage is Rodgers taking 4 sacks. A few of them were on him, but Broderick Jones giving up 3 of the Steelers' 4 sacks. Broderick Jones has acknowledged this week in advance of this game that he has to play better. Aaron Rodgers backed the young Steelers tackle. This was his first start at left tackle, keep in mind, against a Jets team that had 3 first-round picks on its defensive line. The Jets have 3 first-round picks on their defensive line. So hopefully that can get better. But then on the other side of the ball, part of establishing the line of scrimmage, the Steelers allowed 182 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns against the Jets. And the Jets had the ball for nearly 35 minutes in that one. That is something that needs to happen of, hey, someone other than Jalen Ramsey needs to show up. I'll give a shout out to TJ Watt. He was in the backfield a bit, and then the sack that Alex Highsmith had. Other than that, need to see a lot more from this team defensively. A lot more defensively. Expect Derek Harmon to continue to be out. He hasn't practiced on Wednesday. Joey Porter Jr. did not practice Wednesday with that hamstring injury. Deshaun Elliott's going to miss a few weeks with his knee injury. The Steelers signed Jabril Peppers, a player they really liked coming out of the NFL draft out of Michigan. He's played for the Browns, the Giants, and the Patriots, selected 25th in the 2017 draft. Peppers played in just 6 games in 2024. He was placed on the commissioner's exempt list. He faced charges of assault and battery. He was later found not guilty in January. So we'll see. Peppers had a foot and hamstring injuries in 2024, but is a playmaker. I wouldn't expect to see Jabril Peppers much in this game against Seattle. I think it is for depth purposes as he becomes acclimated with the Steelers defense, but Mike Tomlin even admitted that he liked what he saw from Peppers coming out of Michigan when they were scouting him in the draft. Veteran player who's got experience playing in the AFC North. But Sam Darnold, this is a Seahawks offense where to help Darnold get him rolling, Seattle's going to look to try to establish its running game. Zach Charbonnet was actually more effective for Seattle in its opener against San Francisco than Kenneth Walker was, but the 49ers defense really held the Seahawks running attack in check, and that won only 3.2 yards per carry for the Seahawks in the opener. 13 points is not what you signed up for when you signed Sam Darnold, but look for him to target Jackson Smith-Njigba. Now, whether it's Jalen Ramsey, whether it's Darius Slay, we'll see if Joey Porter Jr. can go. That's another matchup to watch because JSN, again, Jackson Smith-Njigba for the Seattle Seahawks, is among the most talented receivers in the league. He is the reason Seattle decided to say, hey, DK, we're okay letting you go to Pittsburgh, sending you to Pittsburgh. So keep an eye on that. JSN in the opener, 9 catches, 124 yards through the air. So he was pretty much Seattle's passing attack in the opener. And one thing I am curious about is whether the Seahawks end up using Jalen Milroe in some sub packages. I don't know if we'll see it in this game necessarily, but 13 points isn't going to cut it for Seattle's offense to get them going. I look for the Seahawks to establish the running game, to feed JSN, and then who's that number 2 receiver that Sam Darnold's going to target in this game. But I know that there were some Steelers fans saying, well, Sam Darnold's a guy that the Steelers should target when they were looking for a quarterback this offseason. Seattle said, we're okay sending Geno Smith away. Geno Smith goes to Vegas, and they bring in Darnold for a lot of money. And at least for the opener, this is going to be a very desperate team because, again, if you start out 0-2, good luck making the playoffs. So that's what I'm looking at. Again, recording this on Wednesday. Limited in practice, Cam Hayward, Nick Herbig. Mike Tomlin left the door open about Joey Porter Jr. with his hamstring. Nick Herbig also had a hamstring. Herbig did not play in the opener, so keep an eye on that in terms of providing depth for TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Jack Sawyer would then be the primary backup to the 2 Steelers star edge rushers in Watt and Highsmith if Herbig's unable to go again. And I would say don't rush Herbig back because the Steelers will need him at some standpoint. Don't rush a hamstring back. But if he's good to go, that does help the Steelers defense. So that's what I'm looking at here in Aaron Rodgers' home opener, Acrisure Stadium on Sunday afternoon against the Seattle Seahawks. If Yins enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe button here on the Arthur Moats Experience, and let me know what you think in the Yinzer chat, what your predictions are. If I'm going to predict the Steelers, let's see. I'll take the Steelers at home. We'll go 30-23 is what I predict will be the final. I do think that the Steelers will win and cover. If you want to be taken seriously, this is a game that you got to win. This is a game that you got to win as the front half of your season starts out a little bit lighter if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan compared to other parts of the season when you go up against stiffer competition. Again, my name is Mark Bergin. Enjoy the game on Sunday. I'll be back on this channel on Monday morning with the man himself, Arthur Moats, reacting to this game. Enjoy the game. I'll see you Monday. Until then, take care, and so long, everybody.